Today's episode is named Different Ways to Deal with Anger, Yours and Others. Hello and welcome to the Successful, Sensitive and Intuitive Entrepreneur podcast. My name is Lydia Sophia Wilmsen and I am an intuitive success mentor for sensitive entrepreneurs. In this podcast, I speak about the challenges sensitive and intuitive entrepreneurs face. I offer you new perspectives and solutions, as well as experiences of other entrepreneurs. Plus, I speak about my personal experience of being a highly sensitive person who has successfully built and scaled 2 businesses. All of that with the goal to make you and your business even more successful in your very unique and authentic way. Have fun and enjoy. And I want to go about this episode in 3 steps. So first, I want to help you to recognize it. That's the first step, recognizing anger. The second step is to check on your relationship with anger. Like, do you have a bad or a good relationship with anger? What do you think about anger in general? And the third step then is to show you different ways how to deal with anger. I came up with this episode recently because I had a conversation with a friend about anger, because I had some experiences in my circle with anger. And then I checked on myself. How do I feel and think about anger? And I talked with several people about it. And then I thought it's super interesting to bring this into conversation, because many of us have to deal with it in one or another way. And I'm going to show you that in a moment. And many of us have no idea how to properly deal with it. Anger is one of the more difficult emotions, the same as with sadness, but sadness somehow is more okay in our society than anger. Like, it's okay to go to the cinema and cry. Of course, people will call you cry babies or whatever. Especially sensitives out there. When we go to a cinema and watch whatever movie, we for sure have to cry, whatever happens. And we are very emotional in general, and we are easily touched also by music. So crying, and sadness or melancholy many of us or many of people out there have faced depressive moments in their lives, or even had to face depression itself. So when it comes to sadness and crying, all of that, it's not that people love it. However, it is already a little bit more okay than the emotion of anger. When it comes to anger, it is connected with aggression. It is connected with doing something to other people, which is hurting them. So anger is not an emotion that has high value in our society. And that's why I think it's even more important to talk about it, because there is power in this emotion, depending on how you deal with it. And you can learn so much already about the topic, about anger, just by observing yourself and asking those questions I'm going to ask you in a moment. So that really is the first step. The first step is to recognize anger in your relationships, or recognize the non-existence of anger. So check in with yourself. Do you feel angry yourself? So I had a moment in my life, or not a moment, several moments, where I had this feeling. This was like 6-7 years ago, when I dealt with a lot of my past stuff. And there were moments where I thought, if I really fully indulged in this, like if I let it out, the anger, I would start killing people. Of course, I didn't do that. And it was just not how I deal. But this was the fear for me. And this was the raw power of this emotion, that I thought I wouldn't be able to handle it. I myself have experience with that. I know how I feel when other people around me are angry. And it's not something which comes easy to me, that I can easily deal with that emotion, because it is so raw, because it is kind of archaic, because it is kind of aggressive and in your face. So first of all, recognize where you experience anger in your life, either in your own life, that you frequently get angry. Then ask yourself, in which situations? When do you get angry? When people don't behave the way you want them to behave, in a good or bad way. when things don't go the way they should go. You have a goal and you don't reach it. You want to do something and it doesn't work out. Like, when do you get angry? And do you get angry? And it might also be interesting when you say like, oh, I'm so at peace. Everything is easy. I never get angry. Then check in with your surroundings. Do all the people around you get angry? Because very often it can happen, passive aggressiveness, that you feel as the little angel in the universe, and just all the people around you are angry. And it can be a mirroring effect. So when you frequently meet very angry people, you can ask yourself, what is the common denominator here? Yeah, that's me, because I am meeting all those angry people. Is perhaps that showing me something? If you're facing anger, not in yourself, but in your outside reality, this also shows you something. This shows you basically that you might have externalized anger. You're not experiencing it yourself. You basically experience it through other people. So yeah, you can ask yourself, what's your part in it? And yeah, it might also be that you say either I have a very healthy reaction or healthy way of dealing with anger, and I really am able to use anger. Or it might be that it just comes over you and it becomes very uncontrollable. Or it might be that, there is a lot of anger stored in you and you have repressed it because you are so fearful of it, or you have like bad feelings about it. So you repress it. You just don't give it a way out. So that's the first step. Recognize it where it happens in your life, either in your life or in the people around you. The next step then is, what do you feel about it? Do you have a healthy connection with it, or do you demonize it? So when you get angry, are you okay with you being angry? Can you hold space for yourself when you are angry? Or do you have to like shush it away and say like, oh, calm down. That's not such a big thing. Just relax. Like, why am I angry again? Let this be. I hate being angry. Or is there something perhaps where you have the feeling of anger is showing up? Like a little, it starts bubbling under the surface, and then you shush it away and you repress it with distracting yourself through movies, through social media, through sports. You just think, oh, I have to run more and have to change that anger. And like, I have to run off that anger, or I have to do and get some boxing classes. Like, and that means you're not okay with anger. It means you have to get away from it. You have to get rid of it. And it's not a curiosity in you of, why is this anger showing up? And what is behind that? Why am I angry? What makes me angry? What does my anger want to tell me? Why am I so freaking fearful of my anger? What am I thinking of losing control of? What are my fears behind it? So what do you feel in yourself when it comes to anger? Do you feel good or bad? Do you accept it, or you hate yourself for it? And when it comes to others, when they are angry in your surroundings, basically, can you deal with that? Do you know how to deal with that? Are you okay with it? Or do you then basically tell them off because you shouldn't be angry? Being angry is a bad thing to be. Can you accept the anger of other people? Does it hurt you? Is anger a feeling that creates a lot of hurt in you? You really can, this is a big part, just looking at anger in your life, where it shows up, how it shows up, where in other people it shows up, how it makes you feel, good or bad. This is already part of the game. Like, you are halfway there once you are able to sit down with yourself and face those questions, because you already get the feeling, the anger, out of the shadows into the open, into the light, out of the dark into the light. And another question, obviously, which comes next is, how did you grow up with anger? Like, where was it present or not present in your childhood? Did you have a very angry, choleric, perhaps abusive parent or parents? Or was there a kind of unwritten rule about not going into conflict? Don't be angry. Don't throw a tantrum. Don't make a fuss about that. Just be okay with it. Was there perhaps a suppression of anger? So go into your childhood and check what happened there, and how this made you feel then, and how you feel about anger now, and make the connection between your past and between you now. Because what you have to understand is that anger is a healthy emotion. We think that there are good and bad emotions, and there are just emotions. And they are about, or it's about living through them, not holding on to them, not repressing them, but living through them and understand their learning. What is the learning in it for you? Anger, if used wisely, has a huge amount of energy in it. Energy to destroy things you don't want anymore. Think about the Eastern goddess of Kali, like the goddess of destruction, to then birth new. Or I always think about, for example, what they use in some African countries, or I think also South American countries, where they have this way of burning fields, so that through the fire, everything is destroyed, what was there before, and then sowing out new stuff, and then having a richer harvest later on. And this always reminds me of this Kali energy, this energy of destruction, this energy or goddess of destruction, in order to then build anew. It's part of the cycle. We have birth and death. We live in a world of duality. So anger and the energy in, like the energy of destruction, of ripping out stuff you don't want anymore. And also constructive anger, like the power of, I don't want this anymore, I want this. And being a warrior of light, so to speak. This is connected with holy rage. And also, I was in conversation with some people, a former mentor of mine, and some other people when it comes around the feminine role in the world. And there is so much rage in the feminine, but holy rage, it needs to find a let out. A good let out. So it's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to want to get rid of. It's something to live through and let yourself fueled by. I'm working with a client right now. It's super interesting, who is not fully stepping into his emotional range. So we are working on that. And to understand the power of emotions. Like in his life, he's doing one circle after the other, and nothing is changing. This was his past. It's not like that anymore. And to understand that there is a lot of energy trapped in unresolved and unlived and unexpressed anger is a step which is super important for that person. Because not living anger, not living this energy of fire, of power, means that you live a very shallow life. You live a very controlled life. But this also then means you're not living the passionate life you want to live. Just with the words, like in this holy rage, there is fire, there is passion, there is warrior spirit to go for what you want and to say no to the things you don't want. There is intensity in it. And if you take this out from your life, if you don't incorporate this emotion into your life, you're missing out on all the positive sides of it. So your job will be to learn to deal with the uncontrollable aspects of anger and basically transmute it into power, transmute it into energy that you can use to build and grow or to build worlds. Perhaps also destroy old worlds of yours and create new worlds. So for me, this word or this idea of holy rage helped me very much to step into the power of anger. And I'm still not a person who runs around screaming and raging. It's not about that. It doesn't mean that you have to express everything in the open every moment of your life. You're not a child anymore. However, understanding the power of it and to stop demonizing it and to stop making it bad and suppressing it will be a big step for you. Either facing the anger in other people or in yourself. With that, I could start understanding that also people who were really angry and were angry in my face, that of course I can tell them off. I can tell them that's a boundary or whatever it is, but it's much more about my experience of it, my acceptance of it, my seeing it in its beauty. And I don't mean that you should let yourself be violated or something like that. Not at all. We are really speaking about the energetics of those emotions. And boundaries are key. Don't let people trample over you. No, not at all. You know me, this would never be something I recommend. However, find a healthy expression and a healthy perspective on this energy in yourself first. And this might already change how people show up in your world and how you show up in your world. And with that, I want to go to the third step, the last step, where it is about like ways of how to deal with anger. First of all, what I already said, really reflect on your own life and how anger shows up and what you think about it. And then make mini adjustments. Don't step into like full rage and into like, oh, I'm now living my anger from today on and like driving away all your family members, all your friends, your partner, all of that. Like go in mini steps. Either go in mini steps in your own life. And if you know that anger is an issue for you, you might look out for specific groups or programs where to do this in a very healthy circle, in a very safe container that you can go deeper into, checking in with yourself, why the anger is there, why you haven't expressed it so far, and how to start expressing it in a very safe container. And when it comes to more recommendations for you about those mini adjustments, it really depends very much where you are at. So if you're a person who has been holding back on anger, I invite you to lean more into it. Like if you're a person, and I was that for a long time, I was the person who held back on her anger until it was so massive that I had like one outburst. Still nothing bad happened, just it wasn't very nice for me. And I had to learn, and I'm still learning that, to lean more into it, go step by step and express it in tiny doses, not in one big outburst when it's like basically too late, and rather in those moments of mild annoyance. You don't have to wait until you are in full rage. Like start expressing your emotions in healthy, tiny doses, and know that you are okay with your anger, that it is okay to show that you are angry, that it is okay to show that you're not okay with something, that it is your birthright to stand up for yourself. And you can do that in mini doses. You don't have to wait until it's too late and then bring up the whole thing of resentments you have and go like screaming around. Lean more into it throughout the day and express it, express the feeling. This can either happen with the people. It might be that you're a person who has to learn to speak out when people say something you're not okay with. I was that person. I'm pretty fine with that now, that I really can tell people in the face, I'm not okay with that. I had to learn that. For a long time, I was just taking it in and saying like, oh, I'm at peace, I'm at ease. That's the issue of the other person. I didn't have boundaries. I didn't say, no, don't treat me like that. I was available for being, not treated super nicely all the time. And I'm not available for that anymore. So it might be that you have to practice that with other people. And it might be that you have to find a way of expressing it for yourself. And then you can use the anger in a way that you go dancing and you go into a very expressive dance style with stomping around, with beating a pillow. It might be that you beat into a pillow and really let your body act this feeling out. There is nothing bad about it. Like, don't hurt people. No, of course not. And if your anger needs expression, yes, go and beat this pillow. Let it out. And there are a lot of amazing meditations by Osho. You can find them online. You can purchase them. You can, if you know what to do, then just do it yourself. There are amazing, like there is Kali meditation, for example, where you really, like one of the several steps is to really go into this expression of like this pure anger, or not anger, but this pure energy in your body. This might help you, especially if you're a person who really holds back a lot and doesn't express a lot with your body. And there is all this stored up emotion in your body. This might be something like express it. And in general, get curious and try out things. If you have your one way of dealing with anger and you have been doing the same stuff over decades, get curious and try different things. And for example, if you're a person who always gets angry in a specific way and then says things that are not okay with other people, go and do the internal work. Then your path is not to express it and hurt people all the time. Then your job is to really go inwards and work through that shit and see what is happening there. Why you have to constantly lash out against people. Why there is so much pent up and stored up anger, which is basically like a chronic disease now, because this is not a healthy expression of anger. It is something, an energy that you let out and then dissipates. And if it stays in you, if it has become a chronic thing, you have to take steps to go deeper into what is happening there and how to solve that. Another way is to be part of it. Like when you feel it showing up, engage in the energy. It might not even be in words. Sometimes you really can shake this energy out. And this also works when someone else is angry. Instead of sitting there and going numb, what if you start to just like shake your hand? You don't have to go and stand up and shake your whole body. Like the energy is in the room. What can you do to lighten it and to let go of it? Like shake a hand or go into a different room. Go into the bathroom and shake your whole body. Shaking your body so it's a whole methodology, like it's a whole technique. I won't go further into that. If you want to look deeper into that, you can let me know, send me a message. There is a way to work with your body through emotions. So don't just stay in your head, especially if you're a very brainy person, use your body. If you're a very unreflected person who is very much in her or his body, but without understanding what is happening, go internal, do the internal work and transmute the energy. Use the power of it and transmute it into a project, transmute it into what you want to fight for. So if you're really feeling angry, sometimes it is not necessary to solve something where seemingly the anger was created. A situation with someone, a fight with someone. Sometimes it's not about going deeper into that and solving that conflict because it's not the root of it. And sometimes it's not even about solving a root issue. It is about using that energy, which is there, flying around, wanting to burst out, and use it for something else. Use this holy rage to get a project going. Use this holy rage to go for your dreams. Like, let it fuel yourself. You know, the more I talk about this, you probably can hear that I get more animated. And this is even just talking about this emotion. It gets me going. So you can do the same. If you feel this anger showing up, use it for your projects. Use it for what you love. Use it for protecting yourself and your loved ones. And it might be useful to break down things you're not in alignment with anymore. Projects, people, relationships, friendships, business partnerships. It might be to not even be angry at a specific person and understand it as the energy you need to basically use the Kali energy, destroy something in order to then build something new. And there might be more stuff surfacing for you when you hear me say that, because it needs courage to break down things. This is why we need this high-level intensity. This is why anger is such a powerful energy. Because some things are not being done with easy peasy, I'm so loving and kind right now energy. Some things need more courage and more power to get going. So lean into the beauty of this emotion when it is healthily expressed. So I think I talked enough about this topic today. If you want to know more, send me a message. You'll find the link to my contact form in the show notes. When you feel that you have been trapped in some mindset patterns, not expressing your emotions, you're going in circles, you can't move forward, you can't bring this new project or this next level in business to fruition, you're always getting stuck again. And you feel that there is this power trapped and you just can't get it going. And whatever you do, it's just not working. Yeah, then reach out to me. Other than that, I send you so much love. It's the 1st of January. So that means 2021 has started. And I wish you an amazing, amazing, amazing year with lots of joy, lots of beauty, lots of kindness, lots of compassion, lots of healthily expressed anger. And yeah, just to summarize what I said today, first step is to recognize it. Recognize your anger in yourself and in others. Where does it show up? What's your part in it? The second step is check in with yourself. Do you have a healthy connection with anger? Or do you think it's crap and it's horrible and it should be forbidden as an emotion on our planet? And the third step, make mini adjustments. Either go into more expression of it or go and do the internal work, depending on where you are right now. This was such an exciting and liberating topic. I'm looking forward to talking more about it, perhaps in the future. And for now, I just send you all my love for the next year. Speak to you soon. Did you like this podcast episode? Then I would be super, super grateful if you gave me a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Super helpful. And please subscribe to the podcast and share it with people who you know can benefit from it. You can find all links to my social media profiles, my website, and contact form in the show notes. And whenever you're ready to take a next step, and that means you want to live a life of more on all levels, then send me a message with where you want to go and what is keeping you where you are, like what keeps you stuck at the moment. And then I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for listening, and until the next episode, much love to you, Lydia.